Impact segment tonight, as you may know. 6 Baltimore police officers charged in the death of 25-year-old Freddie Gray on April 19, 2015. Now, one trial's over, and police officer Edward Nero, 30 years old, has been acquitted of all charges. Joining us from Baltimore, Clarence Mitchell, radio talk show host on WBAL. So, Mr. Mitchell, what was the reaction from your listeners today after the acquittal?
It was pretty much expected, Bill. This case of the 6 officers, Officer Edward Nero's case, was the weakest. He was charged with second-degree assault, 2 counts of police misconduct, and reckless endangerment, all resulting in the arrest of Freddie Gray. Had nothing to do with him in the van. So of all the officers, him and the other officer who made the arrest, Officer Miller, they have the weakest of all the charges. What
about the reaction in the community? Everybody feared that if there were acquittals in the case, now we've had one hung jury for the first officer. Now Officer Nero's acquitted. Any sign of any unrest in Baltimore?
None at all. And you know, the national narrative that's out there, I want to challenge with using your show, Bill, I appreciate this, that somehow Baltimore is out of control because of what's happened. Yes, there were riots last year, but so far in both trials, there's not been anything related to violence. There's been nothing associated with people getting out of control. The way the Judge Barry Williams, who decided this case, this was a bench trial, it was not a jury trial, was appropriate. Justice was rendered in this case, as well as the mistrial. So I don't want this national narrative out there, Bill, that somehow Baltimoreans are out of control and can't handle judgments in court.
All right, no. I mean, listen, the proof will be what happens. Now, we have 5 more trials, the trial that was in a hung jury, and 4 other officers coming up. In that case, in those cases, do you expect more intensity on the part of the public?
I expect more, I'll put it this way, there's more attention in those cases because those are the more serious ones. We have one case with Officer Cesar Goodson, the next case, which has, he was the driver of the van, second-degree depraved heart murder, manslaughter, more serious charges. So with the other cases that involve the actual van part that has resulted in Freddie Gray having an 80% severance of his spine, I expect more, if you want to call it emotion or attention to those cases. But with the case of the bike officers, that was Officer Nero and Officer Miller, I don't expect the same type of attention.
Okay.
Bill.
Has the issue of Mr. Gray ever been raised in the sense that he was a drug-involved person? The reports are he was a drug addict and a street-level dealer, and that his interactions with police escalated over the years because of his narcotics involvement. Has anybody ever spotlighted that? Has that been a topic of discussion? Because as we know, Baltimore is a fairly serious drug problem.
I have. I mean, we're the heroin capital of the world, if you believe the Discovery Channel and other folks. I mean, for 40 years, Baltimore has had a serious heroin problem. But, Bill, what you need to understand, the audience needs to understand, for over a decade, this city has experienced some really harsh policing under then-Mayor Martin O'Malley, then Governor O'Malley, now we know presidential candidate O'Malley, where 100,000 folks were locked up in a city of 600,000, Bill, and 30,000 of those each year, and 30,000 of those arrests thrown out for lack of probable cause. So the relationship between the police and the community bubbled up with Freddie. Freddie Gray is a bad example, but there's been a long-term problem associated with the police and the community in Baltimore. All
right. Is it drug-related because there's so many narcotics in the town, and the police obviously have to deal with these people every day?
Yes, but they need to have probable cause to make an arrest. When you have 30,000 arrests out of 100,000 being thrown out for lack of probable cause, that's a problem, Bill, for any metropolitan area.
But it might be that the system's overwhelmed, which it sounds like it is in Baltimore. But anyway,
no, it's not the system. It's a bad arrest.
I think all Americans, no matter when a citizen dies like Freddie Gray did, it's never the citizen's fault in the sense that Freddie Gray didn't get up in the morning and say, I'm going to do something and I'm going to die. But Freddie Gray's lifestyle for many years led him to this terrible thing, which has not only impacted him and his family, but all the police officers, and that lifestyle should be condemned. I mean, this narcotics trafficking is awful. It's just devastating. It has been, Bill. I know, by good people like you, Mr. Mitchell, by good people like you. But you know what we're dealing with in society now. Everything's a disease, everything's excusable, even drug trafficking. All right, Mr. Mitchell, we appreciate it. Keep us posted on the case.